Hey guys, how's it going? Anthony Muthurajah here, back with a new video lesson for you all. So today I want to talk about bass fills. Now, there's just so many questions, so many lessons on this, as there are many lessons on many topics that are common among bass players. But bass fills to me is very intriguing because I think just the thought of a bass fill itself is wrong in the first place. Now, to me, a bass fill only can exist if your groove is solid, right? So in other words, your pocket, your time, your sound has to be at a really optimum level. And then when you play a fill to break out of the groove, you don't feel the loss of the groove. So that's how much you really have to lay it down. For instance, if I were to take something like a little funky kind of bass line in A minor, right? That is what it is in its fundamental groove. So right? So over there I did a very simple fill. Now I can eventually develop more ideas for the fills and just keep stacking up ideas on top of whatever I'm already doing. But the problem is, what you will eventually end up doing is just having a bass line revolving around the bass fills, when it should be the other way around. Of course, having fills used a little more extensively has its place for sure, in a more fusion kind of setting, or even funk, but where you're really allowed to play a lot more. But generally, you want the bass fill to center around the bass line. All right, so there are many songs out there, old R&B, pop, Motown, soul music specifically, where you really hear classic example of a bass line which is so strong, and then the bass fill, it really gives you such an elevated feeling, but it goes right back into that solid groove. Like there's a song Sweet Love by Anita Baker. So it's fairly simple. The intro is just a B flat to a G flat to an E flat, then A flat to the F, and then when he goes back to the B flat, I believe it's Jimmy Haslip, if I'm not wrong, he does, that's it. So the whole thing, right? It's such a strong effect because that little fill is so musical. Do do dee da boom goom, and then he does a similar thing on the verse. He does my heart, I love you, baby, stay with me. Will you say na na na? Now he does a chromatic to the third. And he doesn't throw in the B flat on the bottom or anything. No, it's just. Now it's a little old school, that approach, but it's such a beautiful approach because you're not taking anything away from the groove. If anything, you're adding more spice to it with your little bass fills. Now, when it comes to more busier bass lines, generally on the bass, especially in funk, R&B, it's heavily revolving around pentatonic scales, blues scale, blues shapes. So that is definitely something interesting to check out. But I don't want to show you a bass fill, a specific one, and say, okay, learn this, because you don't have a creative element in that sense, right? So now I'm just going to jam out this lesson to the end with that bass line I showed you earlier, right? And I'm just going to try to really lay down that groove and then just open up a little bit towards the end. Fuck, I fucked up. But I'm still going to leave this here because I really want you to listen and understand a lot of things comes from trial and error. You don't just nail something instantly, right? So what was I trying to do there? I was just trying to do that. Now that I slowed it down, I got it. Let me see if I can do it a tad faster. Now I can do it a little faster. Right? And I struggled because I'm using my thumb and index finger, so I wasn't really ready to do that fill. So while some fills are improvised, majority is playing what you already know, but trying to put it in maximum context with the maximum amount of groove and pocket you can really put into it, right? So I generally use this method on any style of music. Some styles of music doesn't need bass fills, like rock and roll, blues rock. Sometimes there's no need for a bass fill really, right? So keep it contextual, keep it musical. That's all I would say. So I hope you guys got something out of this, and I'll see you in the shed. Until next time, peace.